Hello, everyone. Welcome to the OC Housing Talk. My name is Mike Van Ruth. I'm here with Tim Lorenz. How you doing today, Tim?
Better than ever.
Better than ever. Well, pretty excited. I went by and checked out your condo on was it Saturday? Yeah, I think it was Saturday. I swung by there and took a look. Matter of fact, I went there to take pictures because I actually slipped some pictures into our last podcast when we were talking about California RPA, the Residential Purchase Agreement. So I slipped those in there because we were talking about it. Figured might as well. But why don't you go ahead and tell us some more about that property?
Well, this is one actually that is with a mentee. That's somebody brand new in the program.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm training all the way along on this. And
holding their hand, so to speak.
Holding their hand. And it's something that if you were outside of the business, you might not understand how the business works, why certain things are important, because I know we never have enough time to really explain how a listing works, how an open house works, why you have an open house, what is this all about, who is it benefiting. I really don't want that. Comes a lot of owners. A lot of agents go, I don't want to do open houses. That's silly. And others go, that's where I make a lot of money is at open house.
Mm-hmm.
But how does it help the homeowner? You know, that sort of thing.
Exactly.
So kind of soup to nuts kind of approach.
Well, what's going on with that condo so far? What's the update on that?
The update is, I can't say it's sold, but it's sold. What does that mean? We've got multiple offers. We've countered the top 5. I can't give you the price, but I can tell you the price it ended at, because it hasn't officially ended until we get everybody's last hurrah in, if you will, because we did send everybody a counter and we said, bring us your highest and best. And we have let everybody know approximately, not even approximately, kind of where the top of this is who are bidding on it, but we don't want to put that out there. It's not fair to the homeowner at this point to tell the general public. But I can tell you it's more than $100,000 above what we listed at right now. And it's not, for our area, it's not an expensive property. But the interesting thing is, if you're training somebody new, and I'm given a process that isn't used by everybody, and they take off and they think they understand even though they've been trained on it, and they make error.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not upset with any new person who makes error. It's part of it. You have to learn. How do you learn? There's so much to know. But if I were a homeowner and somebody said, I want to list it below and I get more than 107%, in this case, we got, 100,000 plus. Too hard to figure right now. I'd say we have 20% growth, roughly, on this property, and it's not done. It could still come in higher. I'd want to know that you really knew what you were doing, and somebody can say, yeah, it sells itself.
Well, not necessarily, because I believe you explained some of the misgivings. I wouldn't, is that the appropriate word for that? But the mentee was willing to stop at a certain point.
Yes. But even
where you were
yes, not at all. I go 2 weeks because it has to age a little bit. The people have to have a chance to get it. What if on that specific weekend they couldn't see it? I want 2 weekends so that enough people can come through to have an opportunity if they want to bid on it. And by having that time, we can collect offers. And I always say a date certain. After 2 weekends, the homeowner will review the offers at that time. That's in good market or bad, and it always works the same. It's just now everybody's on my page in that we have multiple offers. Mm-hmm. But it starts with, we have to have as many people through the home as possible. Agents today do things that really bother me. For instance, they'll have in the offer, you must be fully approved before you bring an offer. And my new agent had put that in the MLS. I get to review it. I took it out. And I said, we're not trying to limit the people coming through. And by that, I mean, yeah, it sounds like they're more qualified than somebody else, and they are because they're saying they're fully approved. But I don't want the guy who has gotten pre-qualified. They're still going through the process. They haven't been fully approved. They will get fully approved if they've got pre-qualified.
But you don't want to keep them from seeing the property.
Right, because I'm then reducing the number of people who have an opportunity to bid. The more people who bid, the higher the price goes. The higher price goes, my seller
You
wins.
want as many potential buyers going through that home as possible. It's a numbers game.
Right.
We're trying to increase the odds in which we're going to get the highest price possible.
So a lot of agents try to limit and close down and force things to make it their job easier, but by doing that, they reduce the value that the homeowner can get because somebody just came on the market. They have plenty of money. They really want to buy a property, and you're not giving them an opportunity. I leave all opportunities open. We can review each one as they come in and see which is the best offer. It doesn't have to be the highest. We want the highest, best offer
Correct.
we can get according to the seller. All right. So new agents are following what they see other people do, and then I correct them and go, that doesn't benefit your client. You have to, we change things as we go. Mm-hmm. So we opened it up, and I had asked if he advertised his open house, and he thought he had, but he didn't know the MLS has a space where it advertises, and it advertises all over the internet. You know if it's there or not because you can look on all these other sites like Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, and other offices, and it says open house this Saturday. It gives the date.
There's an open house section that advertises the open house, yeah.
So if you don't have that filled in,
People don't know there's open house.
that's right. Since he was new, he had one sign on a major street leading him to the house and then one leading him into the condo project. Again, if you're new, sounds good. You telling them how to get there. The problem is somebody's not going to go 50 miles an hour down the road, slam on their brakes, turn left in front of traffic, and find the property. You need to give them more notice. So I had to get him to put out more signs. Mm-hmm. All I'm saying is there are things that we do which to me are quite elementary, but are not second nature to everyone. And
No.
it reminded me that you as homeowners do not know what we know, and you don't understand if it's being missed. I know what's being missed. Then he held open house during the week, which was good.
Yeah.
Advertised it. That was good.
Always good.
Now, when we say we're not going to see offers until a certain time, we're going to let people have all that time. Well, in this market, people are used to having people bid on properties, and so they are not wanting to be the first one in. They actually like to be the last person, the highest offer, and then you accept it.
They call that the bleeding edge.
That's it.
My offer is going to be the platform in which everyone else is going to spring off of.
Yeah, that's the first
Great.
offer.
Yeah. Don't want to be the first offer.
So if you close out before you said you would close out, you're missing all those people who probably had the highest bids. So you never want to do that.
It's just like eBay.
Yeah.
You wait
exactly.
until the last few seconds and then boom, 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 and start dropping your bids right then and there. You don't start bidding in the very beginning. That's crazy.
Exactly. But people do. So he had lost heart because we didn't have offers. We had one offer, almost immediately. And it was the ask price. Remember, we list a little below market. And that isn't what they were looking for. But once we got into it a week, he was like, well, let's just take it. And I'm like, we only have a few days left.
Yeah. So
Now, this is
cool your
behind the
jets.
scenes.
Yeah.
It's behind the scenes. I'm not giving names. This is not unusual. I'm just saying what you don't know, that your agent, if they are not used to doing this technique and it's a fast market, they don't know how to proceed. They're not used to it. It's not second nature. All right, so 20, 30 minutes after that, calls me and says, we have an offer. It's over ask. And I said, good. So anyway, we go all the way, and it was supposed to be looked at yesterday, which they were. We ended up with many multiple offers. And like I said, we went well over 100,000 over the market. Or not over the market, over the asking price. So it was very good. He said, well, let's just take it. And I said, but some of those people that were below and didn't know how much to bid should get a second chance.
Yeah,
they may
give
outbid
another
the
opportunity.
top one.
Yeah, push that.
He said, but
baby
I'm
up.
afraid we'll lose the top one. And I said, not in this market. You're not going to lose
You're not
anybody.
going to lose.
So we sent out counters, and the first one back was from the person that had the highest offer. What does that say? They still want it. And others are coming in. All right. So what am I trying to tell you? Is A, it isn't as simple as it sounds, even though I make it sound simple and go, of course. But none of this is of course. I do training of people who are highly educated to people who aren't that well educated. But no matter where they are, if they haven't sold real estate before, it's not like selling a part to a car. You have multiple days until escrow closed to look at things, to make sure it's the right property. You keep hearing me hit my microphone.
Actually, you're hitting the stand, not the microphone.
Stand, yes, the stand of the microphone. I can't talk without my hands. And Mike's always telling me
you can't even tie them down.
No.
I've tried.
No,
Tried duct tape, rope. None of it works.
But it's not second nature that people have, and they get nervous. They want to do a good job for their client. I really believe the majority of agents want to do a good job. They don't help the other agents understand the market they're in. They don't help the other agents understand that it's going to take a lot of money to buy the house, so that they're helping them as well as helping their client. They're afraid they're going to get sued, therefore they won't tell anybody anything. So what happens is, with somebody else trying to use our technique, is they're not going to tell the other agent approximately where things are. So you call them up and you say, I'd like to know, do you have any offers? No, I don't think I can tell you that.
Well, yes, you can, and tell me.
And they won't. I don't think I can. I'm not going to do that. Or if they say, yeah, we got 4. Are any of them at the asking price? Well, I can't tell you that.
Yes, you can.
And I always ask, are any over? And again, the majority of agents go, we can't tell you that. We can't disclose anything. Who are we working for?
I know. You're supposed to be working for your seller.
Right. And so if you don't tell them when it's gone over, how much do you offer? I mean, this is a market where things are really flying. They're going higher, 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 higher all the time. Mm-hmm. So how do I get them? How do I get them to put in a bid that makes sense? So if you're over the ask and your client agrees, you can give them about what it's doing. So you could say, let's say you've got an offer at 600, and they call up and they say, where do I have to be? You say, it's over. How much? It's going to be over 600. And they say, thank you, always. Let's say it goes up to 650, and you say, well, it's way over. It's not in the 600s. It's going to be in the mid-6s for sure. Mm-hmm. And then they have an idea that they have to be in the mid-6s or better.
At least it gives them an opportunity to compete.
If you give them no hint, they don't know how to guide their client.
No.
Where they might have bought it. And then the other one is they do take the highest offer, not the one that was sitting there that wanted to pay more but didn't know how much to pay. So you're hurting the client on both ends. The guy who really wanted, guy or gal, sorry, who wanted to buy the property and they didn't get a chance to compete. I hear it every day. There are more buyer agents right now than sellers because there are fewer sellers on the market. So a lot of my mentees are writing offers, and they are asking the questions I tell them to ask, and they can't get them. No answers whatsoever. They go, what do I do? And I go, it's going to sell for more. How much more? I have no idea. So you tell your client, and they have to get a feel for it. They have to be out there making offers and having them refused. And finally, they'll step up a little bit over. Some will step way over. And then, to protect the seller, if I'm representing the seller, I have to say there can't be a contingency for appraisal. That's dangerous. Why would you write an offer that didn't have that? Well, I want to be clearer than that because I pride myself on making sure that it's face up, cards face up. How is this going to work? Well, I think you might be appraised up to a certain number. So anything over that number, you have to show that you have cash because that's what it would be
To cover
required,
that gap.
to cover the gap between where the appraisal comes in and how much you bid over. We're serious. If you're serious about wanting to go over what it can appraise for, and we accept you, and then you go back and want to renegotiate it when it doesn't appraise, then I could have taken maybe a higher down payment or a better offer. So I say there's no appraisal for that. I mean, not appraisal. There's no contingency. Certainly go look at it, make sure you can do it. But I give them an approximation of where I think that number would be. Then I also ask for proof of funds to cover that gap, down payment, closing costs, and any other incidental costs. So it's quite a bit more than just the amount they had plus the down payment. You have to have the closing costs too. So I make sure my client is covered. If they're serious about wanting to put in that high an offer, let's make sure it's real. Then we have two different styles, one that I always talk about and one that agents seem to want to do. And I say that because I think the majority is the one agents want to do. Now, the person who right now is on top of the bidding, and I haven't checked on them, it could be completely closed, but I won't say that until I know it. The person on top, highest bid, said their person was completely, not just pre-approved, but has underwriting approval to up to 750. We're nowhere near that, but I mean that they are showing you that client. If you step up, and I want to add that I'm going to, in a counter offer, make it more money. They've already proven to me that's not going to be a problem for their approval. That agent removed some of the contingencies, shortened time, did all kinds of things to show their agent wanted it. Okay, that's what I teach. Now, we're not necessarily shortening times, but if you're going to think that they're going to counter you and it could go higher, we want to make sure that that number is one that the bank has already said can happen.
We'll cover that.
We had a person that put in an offer and said, we'll exceed anybody's offer by $5,000, but had an approval for the amount that they wrote the offer on. Most agents won't allow their lender to give them a letter pre-approval for any more than the value that's on the property. What do we do if it goes beyond?
Yeah, why do you do that?
I always say, if I have $1 million, a person could qualify for $1 million. I want that.
Yeah.
They're only bidding on $400,000. I want the $1 million. They qualified to $1 million. Why are you worried about $400,000? Well, if I do that, then they're going to think I can pay more. No, that's called negotiation. That means you're qualified. Where the other one, if he bids it up, I don't know that he's qualified. So in the counter, you say, I want to see another letter from the lender indicating he can qualify and what the new terms will be if you make a higher offer. That protects the seller.
Yeah, you can't accept an offer until you have that.
Well, there are agents that don't even look for a second letter. They don't even concern themselves with appraisal. They just like the market going up and then chips fall where they may.
Excited, too excited.
So there are many ways to do this, but the right way to do it is to make sure as the agent that we're protecting our client and helping them, if they're the seller, to get the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of grief. That's what we do day in and day out. This was a fun one in that it really soared. It did better than the market. It did better than our usual average. And it did so even with a few glitches. They weren't major, but there were glitches. And it's still coming out very well. So our technique works.
So what you're saying is without a little bit of gumption and tenacity, you can leave some serious money on the table.
Oh, agents do it.
Serious money on the
They
table.
leave more on the table now.
Than ever before.
It's amazing to me. I've had people, I call them up and they go, I want to sell it myself because I can sell it in an hour. And mine is, how much money do you think you're leaving on the table? And they go, what do you mean? My neighbor sold it for $50,000 more than what anything had sold in here. And I said, but it could have cost you $10, $20, $50, $100,000. If your neighbor putting it up for sale by owner, who doesn't have a process and can't advertise and can't get enough people through, he's going to take an offer that he thinks is great, but he has no
idea what reality is.
And no experience.
It's limited in their mind how much that's worth. Well, because they're in their mind, my house is worth this much. Well, that's not what the market thinks. But they're willing to take the first offer that looks good to them and then stop. It's a shame.
In this market, it really does hurt. I will tell you that in most years, this is an exceptional upswing market. Homeowners often have an inflated idea of value. It's higher than the market is. In this market, or a market moving as fast as this one, and by the way, I'm more sure than I was in March that it'll grow more than 45%.
Yeah, I told you that was a bold statement, but starting to look like it's moving that direction.
Yeah,
you might be right.
It very much is. We've already done more than half.
Yeah.
Of that 45%. So you're as a new agent, as a private citizen, you can't have quite the feel as somebody who's been in the business a long time, or a good agent who knows how to price and knows how markets work and has really studied it. You just can't get a feel for it the way a professional can. And there's a lot of people out there, untrained, fortunately ours are trained, but untrained, that are flying blind and really frightened of this market. It's like there's too much. I don't like multiple offers. I don't like it when people are outbidding each other. I can understand that representing buyers. It's really hard right now. And you get that sense of, my goodness, what does it take to get a property?
Mm-hmm.
But no matter who we're helping, we have to know how the market works so we can give them good advice. They get to pick whether or not to stay in, to bid high, to not bid high. But if you're going to tell me that you're going to pay $100,000 over what it was listed at, you're going to have to show me you can actually buy it at that, meaning you qualify. Number two, do you have the cash to close the deal?
Exactly. You got to cover yourself. You got to make sure that something doesn't blindside you in the process.
You leave a door open, there are people who will walk through it.
Mm-hmm. Well, fantastic. It's an eye-opening thing because, I don't deal with your mentees directly. I just hear the stories you tell, and it's like, again, and I've said this before, having you as my mentor, it's like when I first got in the business, I would have no idea what the heck I was doing. And there's a lot of companies out there that don't have a mentor program. They just kind of throw their agents to the wolves and have at it, and no consultation, no extra training. And it's a dangerous world out there if you don't have someone experienced behind you to help hold your hand through the process so you can learn.
The old process, and I mean, when I came in the business a long time ago, when I came in the business, it was kind of good luck, you're alone, there's your phone, See you later. The training was minimal. It's how to fill out forms. To get a license, you have to know what's illegal, if you will. But there was no help in setting you up or really giving you the inside information, how to negotiate. None of that. It was all
Learn as you go.
good luck.
Learn under fire.
We throw it against the wall, and some of it does stick. Most of it falls off.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you, agents are fairly resilient, those that have been in a long time, but some of the newer ones, they're really hurting right now.
Yeah, well, there's two sides of that coin. When you have limited supply out there, this is what happens. Yeah.
So if you have a need for anything in the way of real estate, just information, want to sell your home, you want to buy a home, or you're thinking about investing, get a hold of us. Something else, we had Alan Mack on a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to go back and podcast and you're going, who's Alan Mack? Alan Mack is a lender. And he was talking to me today, and he said that right now they have on super jumbo, okay, really exquisite luxury properties. His company is the first one to do an $83 million home loan. It's the highest ever in the country.
That's a big house.
That's a expensive house. Anyway, if you're in that luxury market, you want to refinance, you want to do something, you can go and look, find Alan. Let him know it came from the podcast. He wants to know that. But also, if you can't do that, look at my phone number, call me. I'll help you get connected to that. His rates that he quoted me today, but again, I don't know the down payments. I don't know everything about it. You have to talk to him. But he was talking about in the 1% plus. Now, that could be 1.999. I don't know. But in the ones, they were able to do that 83 million. And he said, so that's not unusual on the high-end properties. Even if you have a personal banker, talk to him, because even if you want to do interest only and take money out of an expensive house, they have those between 2 and 2.3, I think.
Okay.
So the way they work, they actually can do lower than the personal banker at the same bank. Don't expect me to explain that, but he can. If you just want to get hooked up with him, call me or go back and look at other podcasts. Right there's the phone number. Again, Tim Lorenz. I'm with Keller Williams Realty, Mission Viejo. We are the Elite Home Sales Team. And this podcast is
OC Housing Talk.
And we're talking.
And got those hands going.
Can't talk without my hands. I'm trying. I'm holding onto the table down here now.
It must be painful.
It is.
Oh, again, thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. You can also check us on our social media, which are all listed down in the description section below. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Mike.